Welcome back. We continue in Kimberley this time, where a planned 5-day water shutdown will be implemented after Easter. This is to fix significant leaks on the main pipeline that carries water from the Riverton purification plant to the city. Now, this shutdown is just one of many that will be carried out to combat the city's aging infrastructure. Let's get more information on this as I'm joined by Thabo Mothibi, who is the spokesperson for the Plaatje municipality. Mr. Mothibi, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Firstly, can you provide insights into the specific challenges that Kimberley is facing with its water infrastructure, particularly regarding the recurring leaks and the need for emergency shutdowns?
Well, this is quite historic in the sense that we have had over the last 20 years or so, were presented with a report that highlighted all of these kind of difficulties that we are faced with. And over the last couple of years, a presentation was done, which is the Plaatje Bulk Infrastructure Refurbishment Program, which was then put forward to National Treasury. At first go, we failed. And at the second go, we were able to be, the plan itself was endorsed. And then we had what we call the budget facility for infrastructure, approved by Treasury to cater for all of the kind of repairs that need to be undertaken, a lot of maintenance work. Now, what this actually now means is that we can now start off with our rollout of the program to fix all these major leaks. And this particular rollout, as it is, next week becomes part and parcel of the need to work in accordance to a planned a rollout of addressing all of these significant shortcomings. Significant in the sense that in a number of areas there may not have been plans put in place, but here you are going to work according to a plan, and we will be able to put together contingency measures in as far as what then happens in the time of not being able to provide water in the normal way. But for now, we do have a plan. And the plan itself is to make sure that we do work towards what one would call an uninterrupted supply of water into the future. And we are starting to fix all of that.
So your press release also mentions excessive water losses from that leaking gasket at mid-station near Riverton. Can you elaborate on the impact of these losses and also the urgency in addressing the situation to really prevent further disruption?
Excessive in the sense that what you then draw from the Vaal River, which is our main source, the abstraction point, and then pushing all of that amount of water, the volumes, through to our reservoirs that are situated in Kimberley, then means that's over a stretch of about 27 kilometers, you can just imagine. So some of these leaks then appear on that very stretch. And what it then does is that so much of the water then gets lost, close to 50%. So that's quite what I would call exponential in a sense. So in curtailing all of that, you need to curb all of those losses and try and make sure that you've got as much water that can then go into our reservoirs. And once a big achievement would then be for us to stop with our nightly water sharing, because we've been forced then to implement that measure as a means of being able to store water for supply, particularly so during your working week. So one sense of it for now, it's for us to look even at the issue of the quality of water, because you understand that we've got what we call an assessment done through your blue drop statuses. And once the quality of water is also addressed, so we will then be looking at these major leaks, but at the same time, we will then put a great deal of focus on the quality of water, meaning at our treatment plant, what ought then to be fixed from broken nozzles to any other mechanical aspect. All hands on the deck will be giving a great deal of focus to such, and then we'll be talking uninterrupted supply, but also the quality aspect thereof. And that gives you a great sense of what we call water security.
So the communication also emphasizes the importance of residents actually storing enough water for critical use. What contingency measures are being put in place to ensure access to water, especially for essential services such as healthcare facilities?
Fortunately, what we do have in place is to make sure that there are special plans that would then look at your critical centers, such as your homes for the aged, hospitals, and all of those that we've categorized in that particular area. And then you'll be looking at ensuring that we do not act outside of what I would call the Water Services Act. And that is indeed the plans that we've made to have tankering enforced on the day itself or throughout the 5-day period. But at the same time, you'd also be looking at having what we call these major JoJo tanks, 5,000 liters at the most, being located within certain localities, residential areas, popular spots, so that you then deal with that aspect of the demand. But at the same time, we're really encouraging residents to say between now and the coming days, please do store up and use water sparingly, because once you do that, then you ease also the demand that will be coming up in the days of having to queue up, having to fill up whatever method that you're going to use to try and store water for household use. So we're really encouraging residents to store up, and we've actually communicated way in advance to say this is the kind of dire situation that we are faced with. Please do store up as much water as possible, use water sparingly. And so far, our messages have been well received. We will also be making sure that we communicate throughout the course of this week our contingency plans in terms of the supply of water. We have our community radio stations on board, and ours is to make sure that there is sufficient information that gets to cascade to each and every level of society.
So you've also mentioned that repairs will be conducted on 4 key major leaks. Can you provide more detail on the scope of these repairs and how they will actually contribute to improving overall reliability and also the quality of water like you've mentioned?
Yeah, with your, major leaks, what it does is that actually leads to excessive water losses. So once you curb all of that, you then be assured of the amount of water that you can really push through the bulk pipeline all the way to our reservoirs. So our target then is to say, but at the same time, what are we doing with this? We want to really bring an end to the water sharing that happens on a nightly basis. So we were quite confident that with this particular interruption, we will then be able to be in a position to say, this is our target, and we are confident indeed that we will meet our target. So there is a number of these major leaks. One is on a manifold at our plant at Riverton. So if we get to fix that, one is on a stour valve that is at Soul City on the outskirts, a bit on the outskirts of Halishewe. And then we've got 2 other major leaks. The one is the gasket that you referred to at Mid Station. And then we've got another one at Camellia that is also in the residential area called Riverton. So we are quite confident that we can work on these other 4. And then there's other 3 that are not 4, that are not so major. But all in all, it will really bring to an end the excessive losses. What could be a possible result out of pushing all these volumes is that you might also then have leaks in between residential areas. But those are issues that our Waterworks department will be able to deal with should we have that kind of eventuality.
So the involvement of consulting engineers and contractors also suggests that a comprehensive approach is being taken to really address the water infrastructure challenge there. How is the municipality then coordinating with these stakeholders to really ensure timely and effective repairs?
The beauty about this entire situation is that as far back as early February, we had a massive, what we call a water workshop, where we brought on board all stakeholders. The same consulting engineers were able to present their plans and as to how best do we work in fixing all of this. And we also had a lot of other experts that were on board. And it was quite easy for all these stakeholders to then measure our plans and say where are the shortcomings, how best can we improve. Again, another beautiful point to mention out of this is the fact that we've got a mining company in Kimberley called Ekapa Mining. Those are the kind of guys that specialize in what we call plant management. And they have also, as we speak, will be bringing on board their engineers. They've already set up site, and their engineers will be the ones also to assist us. So it's a beautiful approach that is all-encompassing, and your consulting engineers will be able to direct the work. Then you've got your subcontracting company that will do the actual work, and we've got teams within the municipality itself, whether it's Waterworks, because we have a situation where you need to make sure that come Thursday, 1800 hours. You close your valves spot on. If there's precision from that point, it means there will be precision right up until the end. And I'm so sure that come Monday, towards even that late afternoon, that the pipeline would have been filled, and again we'll be back to some kind of normality in terms of our water supply.
Sure. So your press release is also calling for residents to use water sparingly. This is a theme often given during this kind of situation, to switch off or not to fill your swimming pools and washing vehicles with hose pipes. How important is community cooperation in really conserving water?
You know, what it calls for is that we need to sustain the campaign. We need to sustain the campaign as a municipality and say, you know, let us not rest on our laurels. Let us make sure that South Africa is a water-scarce country. And worse for us when we find ourselves inland, it means without the Vaal River itself and without the Orange River on the other side of Richie, then we will be in serious trouble. So we cannot allow communities, once we bring the water shedding to an end, the nightly water shedding, for them to rest on their laurels. We need to sustain that particular campaign and preach this gospel over and over again and explain the need to honestly assist us in this very effort. So this needs to, even at school level, throughout all of society, we need to understand why is it so important for us really to, as a country, to look at conserving water.
And speaking about that, looking ahead, what long-term strategies is the municipality considering to enhance water infrastructure resilience and also ensure sustainable water management practices in Kimberley?
You know, the beauty about it is, again, the fact that we're using a great deal of technology in between. Through our smart ball, we were able to detect a number of these leaks, and we know that we are sitting at 27. What it also then allows us to do now is that you are able to then measure and work then into the future. And in doing so, you would be able to then say, there are these other leaks. How do we address those leaks so that we do not have this kind of major interruption, you know, if you like, but then to use certain technologies in between. When you do the maintenance, you do need to also deploy certain technologies in between. And this is exactly what will bring us, because what you also then have in Kimberley is the fact that you've got a massive investment in the built infrastructure. So all of these, whether you see a crane, then you must know there's serious development. And you cannot develop an economy without water. You cannot develop an economy without electricity. So these are critical. And it means our forecasting must then be spot on to cater for this growing, what you call population. When these plants were built at Riverton, there was 60 years or so ago. And where we at now, we are catering for a population of way more than 300,000 within the municipal boundaries of Plaatje. So that alone tells a story that we ought to be a bit futuristic in our planning and make sure that water security, we do not compromise on that.
That was Plaatje Municipal Spokesperson Thabo Mothibi.